All right. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Lehigh County Authority Board of Directors meeting of February 10th, 2025. This meeting is called to order. This meeting is being recorded. We'll have a roll call of the Board of Directors first.
Okay, roll call of the board. Brian Noggle.
Here.
Andrew Bailey.
Here.
Ted Lyons. Jeff Morgan.
Here.
Norma Cusick.
Here.
Kevin Baker. Linda Rosenfeld.
Here.
Sean Ziller.
Here.
Mark Gramis.
Here.
All right, we do have 7 board members present. That's a quorum.
All right. Thank you, Liesl. The board was delivered to the advanced packages of the board materials as we received in hard copy and also available in emails, and has been available online. Let's review the agenda and the need for executive sessions. Are there any changes, additions, corrections?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have one change to the agenda, and that is related to item 7, the monthly financial review. We had planned to present the December financial today, but we'd like to delay that until the next meeting as Ed is working on finalizing some of the year-end analysis. Okay. So that's changed the agenda for today. And then we also would like to have an executive session following the close of the regular meeting to discuss potential litigation with our solicitor present.
Okay. Just noting that on my papers so that I don't forget that. Okay, thank you. All right, this time we review the minutes of the last meeting of January 27th, 2025. Mr. Secretary?
Yes, thank you. So I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented in the packet for this meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Jeff and seconded by Linda, I take it. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? All right, ayes have it. Thank you very much, Jeff. Moving on to public comments. Are there any comments from the public on any items that are not on the agenda?
No, thanks, Brian.
No, thanks.
Thank you, Jenny and Brian, for being here. All right, moving on then to action and discussion items. We have one item under Finance and Administration. It's the LCA Strategic Plan. It's progress reporting. It's discussion only. Yellow documents within the board package and digital board packet pages 8 to 12.
Thank you. And thank you again to the board for understanding the illness that ran through my household last time around, prevented me from being ready to present this last time. So this is a repeat in terms of the documentation that you have for the last packet. But I do have a little bit of a presentation to go through, focusing more so on some of the achievements and looking forward through 2025. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Get this going on there. Apologize for that. There you go. It's been a little while since we did an update to our strategic plan progress, and we were doing them quarterly, and we said last year to bring it down to every 6 months because a lot of the topics that are included in our targets for the year are projects that we're talking about throughout the course of the year. So there shouldn't be any surprises necessarily on our progress on these items. But just as by way of background, back in December of 2021, we adopted a new strategic plan that was intended to be a 5-year plan, 2022 through 2027. And as part of that strategic plan, we adopted a new mission statement, a new vision statement, also these 6 broad categories of strategies that we wanted to focus on that are shown here. And they all sort of work together in terms of creating a vision of where we're trying to lead the organization. Within each of these 6 broad categories, we had a series of sub-strategies and tasks, certainly a lot of detail that went into developing that strategic plan. So this, I don't expect you to be able to read this, what's on the screen. There's a lot of words, but this kind of gives you the visual of how the strategic plan is supposed to work together with our vision, mission, and values, these top 6 priorities, then cascading into these 21 strategy areas. And then there's another layer that's not even shown here of tasks, subtasks under each strategy. So that's really where we've been focused on each year, trying to pull out some of these strategies, what we can focus on and what we can work on in the year ahead. And every year we present roughly 5 key initiatives that we're going to focus on in the year ahead. And for 2024, we actually had 7, but we try to keep it somewhat narrow in terms of what we're on at the highest level. So what's shown on the screen here, the 2024 year-end status mirrors exactly what's in the yellow pages of the report. So in each of these 7 areas, we had a number of sub-targets that we were trying to achieve last year. And they're shown in the handout as either being checked off as completed or they're still outstanding. So what this shows in the little circle graph is that about 70% of the things we set out to accomplish last year, we accomplished, which is great. And about 30% of them are items that are in progress, but delayed for various reasons. I'm happy to report there are no items that we haven't at least started, and there are no items that we've removed from the plan. So just a quick rundown, not in great detail, but the kind of the categories of items that are delayed from 2024. First is the Plans Island Sewer System Act 537 plan. We had hoped to have that ready and out in the municipal hands for approval by the end of 2024. With all the complexity that goes into putting a regional plan together, we had to extend that out to about mid-April is our new target. The Tyler EERP go live, we had expected to go live January 1 of 2025, knowing that was an aggressive target for us. And specifically because not only are we re-implementing all the systems that we currently use in finance and billing and customer care and payroll, but we also have a number of new things that we're trying to implement, like project accounting and inventory management, et cetera. All of those pieces just haven't come together. They were, I think the project was close to hitting the target, but not close enough that we felt comfortable going live on January 1. And so we selected July 1st as the new go live date as a kind of clear end of a fiscal quarter that would make sense for us to go live on that date.
So these have different modules, right?
Yes.
So, so not all the modules we're going to implement at July 1st. So are they module they're going to go first? I know you're adding, but there are things that we can start, so we can start the implementation.
Yeah, we were expecting to go live with finance, utility billing, human resources, and payroll, because those are the core functions that we're already using in some form or another in the old system. And we need them all to work together. That is still like the basic July 1 target to go live. But if we're able to, we'd like to be able to also implement employee access, customer access, project accounting and some of these other new things. Actually, project accounting, we have to go live with financials because it's a total change in our structure. The lead replacement projects were delayed pretty significantly this year, primarily due to the funding challenges. And so we have kicked cycle 1 project off later than we had hoped to as a result of that. And while we don't have a specific target in place for this one yet, it is pending the bondholder consent process that Ed has been working on. So that's the reason for that lag. And then the last one has been more of an evolving discussion. We have this building optimization and master plan project that kicked off later in 2024. But we also have identified, and we'll talk about a little bit more later, the need for a more robust staffing plan to go along with that, where we understand not just the physical structures where our people work, but also what does the shape of our future workforce look like. And we're not as far with those internal discussions as I think we need to be, and we'll be focusing on that in 2025.
And Lisa, this is Sean, but in terms of those internal discussions, kind of what shape are those taking? You know, and kind of what's your, maybe you don't have it down on paper yet, but kind of what's your internal timeline for those discussions and then subsequent steps?
Yeah, Sean, it's a great question. We have in 2024, we spent some time doing an update to our retirement risk profile. So we have some good data on where the risks are for succession planning needs. And we also, as you know, spent quite a bit of time both in the middle of the year and during budget process as well, looking at sort of the immediate or near-term range for staffing needs. That's all kind of in place. What we need to do and haven't really started doing is trying to envision more of the long-term side of things. So that has to be a focus conversation with the staff and potentially with the board as the year goes on. So, you know, we got kind of the immediate issues addressed and identified, but it's really kind of delving into that long-term need that we need to start doing.
Thank you.
So I have to say, well, I think when we look at the targets we didn't hit in 2024, there's some really good and justifiable reasons why we didn't hit them. But I also am really proud of the things that we did accomplish as a whole organization, the board included and all employees included. We really got a lot of great things done. And I'm calling those our wow moments for 2024. We talked about this at a few different staff meetings and just want to take a moment to celebrate some of those wow moments. We've had really good success with our hiring in 2024. And you can see the list there. I mean, it just spans the whole organization. We've brought in some new hires that are really proving to be successful new hires and adding a lot of value to our organization and redefining some of these roles, which has been really good for LCA. Our internship program, that was part of our strategic plan or strategic initiatives, but I have to highlight what a successful program that was. It was due in large part to Andrew Moore and support from Sue Sampson to put that program together. We had broad participation from schools across the valley. And one of the highlights I think was so cool about it was that with the 5 interns rotating through the organization, the existing staff kind of got a real charge out of doing mentorship and coaching and showing off a little bit about what we do, extending those relationships. So really successful program. In terms of regional collaboration, I think LCA really stepped up its game in terms of working with the municipalities. the fact that we have a draft set of agreement terms for new intermunicipal agreements. Not universally agreed to at this point, but they're pretty close. And I think that's a huge accomplishment. And then extending that collaboration into other areas such as the pretreatment plant stakeholder process, the positive media relations we've received, and recently the township pump station operations agreement is just an illustration of that collaboration. A number of financial achievements this year, and has brought to you various financings for the city and suburban sewer. And the continued focus on grants has been great. This is just a little thing, but we had an outstanding funding issue with the Washington Township sewer system that has kind of been lingering for a number of years, and was able to get that resolved this year and bring some funds back into our suburban sewer system as a result of resolving that with the township. Good stuff. And then last but not least, the internal collaboration. All of these projects that we are talking about in terms of broad strategies really require a ton of cross-organizational teamwork. And it's been really positive, and you know, just seeing everyone working together and hitting the targets as best that we can, really great. Good stuff. So looking forward, 2025 and beyond, I have just a couple thoughts I wanted to share. Certainly those big items that we've been talking about will continue. We're going to hit our targets for the KISS Act 537 plan, for the Tyler project, for our lead program, et cetera. There's a couple of organizational strategies that I think we need to consider and put some shape around them in 2025. First relates to affordability, water and sewer rate affordability. As you know, our capital programs are growing rapidly in terms of projects as well as costs. And so we really have a challenge in front of us in terms of rate affordability. And there are some things that we can do or consider doing related to how our rates are designed, how we apply grants that we receive, potentially some community partnerships that could help, and also billing frequency to help customers with their monthly water and sewer. So that's a program that needs to take shape, and I think 2025 is the year we need to focus on that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we had a little brief discussion earlier, the long-term staffing plan is really important for us. Last month, I believe it was, when we talked about the lead program and doing the cycle 1 project in-house. That's been a little bit of a fun exploration of what our staff is capable of. And I think it's worth talking about internally how we staff to do projects, whether it's in-house or outsource, and how do we build our workforce to be able to do maybe a little more of that and fold in those succession planning and recruiting needs. And then the last thought, and it's really a question, relates to the plan itself. So we talk a lot about these strategies as very detailed, project-oriented strategies. And I think there's an opportunity potentially to refresh the overall plan and make sure that the things we're focused on are really connected to the strategic plan or those strategic priorities that we set out for ourselves 3 or 4 years ago. So we have, I think this is a conversation not only internally, but with the board as well, if we want to undertake this plan refresh in 2025. That's all I have for this topic, but happy to entertain discussion and questions, especially on this question about doing a plan refresh in 2025. Is now the right time? And any thoughts that the board might have on that?
You had said one of the wow moments was the hiring of staffing, and we've had a lot of problems with that in the past. what can you attribute that to?
So we still have a lot of vacancies. So it's not so much about the getting fully staffed as making really good decisions on who we're hiring. And I think we had some bumps along the way, for example, within our human resources department, and we've made some really good hires there and have recovered and beyond in that area. Even in the engineering area, project management area, it's very difficult to recruit for those positions. But we've made a couple of new hires in that arena that have been really, really great, very productive. You've met some of them already, and adding a lot of value to the organization.
I'm really glad to see that because I was starting to get worried because that all leads into the succession plan also. So that was good. I like that.
We've tried to bring in some of the new folks to board meetings occasionally. You met Mark Mason, our new HR manager. I think at the last meeting or 2 meetings ago, you met Rennie, who's our new lead program manager. You've met Steve Boone and Amy Borbach, who are 2 new project managers, really excellent new hires.
Yeah, I want to give kudos to the team. The number of reportable last year has gone down to 2, so that's a great improvement compared to years past. Obviously, still the days of no vehicle accident, still, 155 days is okay, but the standard is 1 year. So, but I think the team has done a tremendous amount of job. So kudos to the whole team of focus that they have on the safety. So we have the employee to go home the way they came to work.
Thank you, Mary. And that's another example of a new hire. We haven't brought Jeffrey in, I don't believe, to a board meeting yet.
Not yet, we will.
But he's really taken our safety program, helped us take the safety program to the next level.
Lisa, this is Brian. Can you expand a little bit more on the KISS Act 537 delay in the plan and an impact on our ability to make our mandatory delivery dates?
Sure. So the Act 537 plan, as you know, has been evolving over the course of 5 years that we've been working on developing this thing. I think a critical kind of inflection point occurred last fall or kind of the second half of 2024, where we received very specific guidance from DEP about what they're looking for, how they want the plan presented, what they want it focused on. And it was a little different from what we had been working on. So we did have to spend a little time sort of regrouping and making sure that the plan reflects what DEP is looking for. That was one piece that I think delayed us somewhat. Another piece has just been not necessarily within LCA's control. Phil has been working very, very hard with all 15 municipalities on their portions of the plan, but the plan does require all 15 municipalities to submit things like maps and their maintenance plans and various other documentation, and getting all of them to submit everything to us on time has created some delays. So that, as well as the financial analysis and the intermunicipal agreements, it's all kind of working together to give us a little bit of a delay, but 4 months is really well within DEP's expectations. They're hoping that we will submit a plan in 2025, and we're absolutely on target to do that.
Excellent, thank you. Any other board questions? Anything else you want to help us understand?
I think the only outstanding thing is related to the plan refresh itself, and I think there might be an opportunity. We had a strategic plan subcommittee at one point to maybe regroup with that committee to look at what the plan was from 4 years ago and how far we've come, and if we want to do a refresh now, or not. So I think it's somewhat optional, but it might be the middle of the period, so it's not a bad time to consider doing that.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, Liesl, and the team for all the work you've done and the progress we've made and the challenges you've faced. So we'll move on then to continuing with the action discussion items. We don't have anything under water, but we have one item under wastewater. Suburban Division LCA meter stations 1 and 2 upgrades. Seeking approval, 10 documents in the board package and digital board packet pages 13 to 32.
And for that, I'm going to turn over to Chuck. A lot of graphics to share.
Oh, good. Oh, you have them.
I have them ready to go.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Liesl. This project is for authorization of construction phase to upgrade meter stations number 1 and number 2, which are situated along our Western Lehigh interceptor. So this is driven by Act 537 regional planning, which requires that each municipality document their I&I reduction efforts through flow monitoring. And meter stations 1 and 2 and 3 are used to meter flows from the boroughs of Albertus and Macungie. Meter station 3 is performing well and is accurate, but meter stations 1 and 2 are no longer accurate because the flow device in each meter station is undersized to accommodate the current peak flows. These stations were built in the 1970s and likely did not anticipate the level of flows that we see nowadays. So I don't know if you're able to pull up the map. Sure. I'd like to show the board where the meter stations are located. Meter station 1 is located outside the borough of Albertus, right on the line between Albertus and Lower Macungie Township. So this is a GIS excerpt, and this is the road that goes from the borough of Albertus to there's an S turn where Mac is located. I forget what road that's called, but meter station 1 is located right there. So that's just east of the borough of Albertus. So that picks up all the flow from Albertus. Like I said, it's inaccurate. The equipment is undersized to accommodate existing conditions. And meter station 2 is located right near the Allen Organ factory outside of Macungie, and that measures the flow entering Macungie. And then I don't have a map for meter station 3 because it's not part of the scope of this project, but that's located on the other end of Macungie and picks up all the flow exiting. So it's a subtraction between the flow of meter station 3 and the meter station 2 as to what the borough of Macungie is contributing in flows. And there's various connections between meter station 1 and 2, which are not shown here. And so it's basically a subtraction effort to calculate the flows from Macungie. So I'd like to show a picture of each meter station if we could. Oh, okay, that's meter station number 2, which is located right near the railroad, not far from the Allen Organ factory. And here's just a diagram, but I'll show you the picture. So here's a condition of the meter stations. They're little brick buildings. And what it's comprised of, it's just a building situated on top of the sanitary sewer line. So in the station, the sanitary sewer line is an open channel, and a flume is used to measure the flow. And a flume is a prefabricated insert in the channel, which has a constricted throat area and a hydraulic jump, which is used in conjunction with an ultrasonic level detector to calculate the flow going through the station. And the throat sections are too narrow and during the peak flow. So here's a real good picture, a close-up, a plan view of a flume. And this is meter station 1, and you can see how narrow that is. It's 4 inches wide. And during a peak flow situation, it overflows, and therefore it's inaccurate. And there's ventilation improvements. There's a great condition depiction of the fan in meter station 1, which we are in conjunction with this flow metering upgrade. We're replacing the ventilation systems to make it safe for our operations folks to enter that confined space. And meter station 2 is virtually the same. And like I said, this one is located right near. In fact, you have to drive through the Allen Oregon property to get to it. And it's the same deal. This one is 6 inches wide, and it's being enlarged to a 9-inch wide flume. So part of the expense of this project, you're looking at it, they have to, not only is it a confined space, but they have to jackhammer to remove the old flumes and replace the new flumes, and then pour concrete grout around them. And they have to bypass pump around these metering stations while the work is going on. So it significantly adds to the cost. And I did have a picture of a flume. Oh, there's a picture, a good picture of a prefabricated unit. For anybody that's interested, that's a typical flume. So it connects on both ends to the round pipe, and there's your constricted flow section, and then there's elevation change through the channel, and it's used with an ultrasonic level detector to calculate the flow going through there. So that's basically the project. So we're going to replace the flumes, and we're going to upgrade the HVAC systems, and then we should have accurate flow measurements from both boroughs that can be used as part of Phil's regional planning and as part of what DEP requires. So we put this project out to bid about a month and a half ago, and we received 3 bids. The lowest from LB Industries at $185,135. The engineer's estimate is about $150,000. I think the additional cost is the confined space and the requirement to bypass pump. LB is reputable. We've worked with them on the dechlorination project at Klein's Island. They did a good job. And right now they're working on the final phases of the boiler replacement project at Klein's Island. So they're a good contractor. They're from Hellertown. Their references and their bid documents are satisfactory, and I'm recommending that we award the low bid to LB Industries. In conjunction with that in the CPA and the capital project authorization, we have construction phase engineering provided by Arcadis at $38,000. They will oversee the construction and perform a review of the shop drawings and final inspection and all those necessary duties. So we have a total capital project authorization of $239,135, and I'm asking for board approval of this construction phase.
I'd like to jump in there real quick as well, because when this paperwork came across our desk, we immediately had a question because of the new resolution that was passed at the last meeting regarding the thresholds for board approvals, which we set at $250,000 for construction projects. So the total, you'll note on the capital project authorization, the total for the project so far is $298,000 and change. So that is over the $250,000 threshold, but construction phase itself is under the threshold. So it's one of those sort of gray areas. We thought it best just to bring it to you, and if there's a board feeling of like how this fits into what we just approved for the authorization threshold. Want to just make sure we have the right guidance on that.
Yeah, this is a good example.
Yeah.
Any board questions on that? just from my own point of view, I appreciate you bringing this to us, even though the threshold was reestablished. But I think it's good practice with the total project cost being considered in that board review.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had two different interpretations internally, whether it's total project or just construction phase. And we thought we'd just bring it to you because the total cost is over the threshold and just make sure we're aligned on how we're doing it.
Okay. Any other board thoughts on that?
Accuracy of this meters doesn't impact our billing
These aren't being used for billing purposes.
for the future.
For the future,
For
yes.
the future.
But not now, right?
Right, but the idea with the agreement terms that we're working on is that all the municipalities will be billed based on flow
Yes.
in the future.
Okay, so they will be used for billing purposes.
And the percent solid in the waste has no impact on the accuracy of the meter?
No, with the flume, the friction factor is such that it's like a PVC pipe. It should flow through it and it should hang up anywhere.
Okay. Any other board questions? All right, then we have before us a capital project authorization for the construction phase for a total of $239,135 for meter stations number 1 and 2, partial flume replacements. That includes a contract to LB Industries for $185,135 and includes a professional services authorization to Arcadis for $38,000. Do I have a motion to that extent and also a second?
Brian, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Norma.
And I'll make a second, Sean.
Sean, thank you. A motion by Norma, seconded by Sean. Okay, any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, thank you very much, Chuck. All right, next on the agenda is monthly project updates. The February 2025 board was attached. Digital board packet pages 33 to 41. That's white documents.
All right, so as you'll see in this report, we have a number of items coming up on in 2 weeks at our next meeting, including the change-a-roo on the monthly financial report. Ed will present December 2024 next time. So that will show up next time as well. Just a couple of highlights that I wanted to call out is that it is that time of year to do the election of officers for the board of directors. So Brian, I think you have a comment to make on that later on in the agenda, but we would like to have that wrapped up in February. And then we have a number of projects that you'll see next time related to our SCADA system upgrade, the final phase of that project, Lehigh River pump station upgrade, and then also the interceptor inspections happening in the city of Allentown. So those are 3 good projects we'll talk about next time. If there's any questions on the remainder of the projects on the project list, we have some people in the room who can help answer those. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any board comments, questions on those? Okay, moving on. As stated, we're not going to cover the December 2024 report, financial report. Moving on to item number 9, staff comments.
Have nothing additional today.
All right, solicitor comments.
No comments, thank you.
All right, public comments on any items whatsoever?
No, thanks, Brian.
Yep, no comments.
Okay, thank you too for being here. All right, board member comments. Okay, I have some. As Lisa will mention, it's that time of year for board officers reappointment. Norma, you've done this in the past. Would you be willing to lead the nomination committee and poll the board members for their desires to take different positions on the board officers slate.
That's fine. I'd be happy to.
And if you want to use anybody else, you can drag them along as well. Thank you. Just for everybody else's reference, I am not seeking reappointment. So my term has ended as of the end of December, and I'm staying on until I'm replaced. And I guess that is in the works, but I'll be short term for now. So we'll talk some more about that later on, another time. Any other board comments? All right, we're going to adjourn this meeting and have an executive session for potential litigation items let's see, make it 10 of 1. And we have the Zoom information on a email from Liesel. So see you at 10 of.
Thank you.
Thank you.